G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Let's go. I feel stuck in my polyamorous relationship. So my boyfriend, 31 male, and I, 27 female, have been dating and living together for 7 years. He is very handsome, smart, and funny, and in general takes good care of me and treats me well. We both moved abroad to Asia 7 years ago, and that's where we met. We moved in together soon after we met. The first 6 months of our relationship, we lived in a tiny room, sharing a single bed and no aircon. It was kind of miserable. I had to do a visa run 1 month, and while I was abroad, I met a guy who I had no intention of sleeping with. He bought me a lot of drinks, I was blackout drunk, and we had sex. I don't remember the majority of that night. That event totally changed our relationship. I'm still traumatized from what happened and don't know to call it sexual assault or cheating or both. The next 2 years of my boyfriend and I living together were incredibly difficult while we tried to make amends. One of the things that we agreed on after a while is that my boyfriend would be allowed to get happy ending massages. He had several of those. I don't really know how many. One of the girls he got to know a bit better, and eventually he ended up sleeping with her. Then he started dating other girls online and going out with them. He was open and honest with me about everything. He slept with around 10 other girls before he settled down. Currently, he has 2 serious girlfriends besides me. We've also gone out to clubs and hooked up with girls together. So here are the issues. One is we are riddled with STIs to the point that we never have sex with each other anymore because all it does is make us sensitive. The other one is that he's in love with one of his other girlfriends. We had some agreed upon rules in the beginning, like he has to wear condoms, but I know he doesn't. He talks a lot about how Asian kids are so cute, and he would love to have one. He's tried to convince me that it would be okay for him to have kids with other women, but I just can't agree to it. I'm so sad sometimes because I love him, and we get along really well for the most part. I like his family too, and his brother recently asked me why we don't get married. I know he doesn't want to marry me, and I don't know if we'll ever be ready to have kids together or move to any sort of next level at all. I don't know what to do. In the comments, I don't know what you are doing, OP. He is nasty, diseased, not monogamous, and not looking to procreate with you, nor marry you. What are you getting out of this other than a quasi-stand-in boyfriend from time to time? OP says, we hang out every day and share a lot of interests and values. He's smart, and I like discussing things with him. He's also all I have in the way of support. My family is far something, leaning politically, and I have nothing in common with them. My mother is a narcissist, and I have been no contact with her for over 12 years, and low contact with the others. I have no one else. As a woman myself, I can never for the life of me understand why do we do this to ourselves. He sucks. There are better people out there. Leave. Get your STIs treated and get some therapy. Damn, it sucks that you're unsure whether or not what happened to you was sexual assault or cheating. Honey, that was not cheating. You did nothing wrong, and I'm so sorry you were hurt. I don't mean to make assumptions, but it seems like your boyfriend has led you to believe that it may have been cheating, and that is the first in a long list of toxic issues with him in your story. He should have been there for you when that happened to you, not making you feel like you need to make it up to him by letting him get pleasure from other women. That's abusive. Also, polyamorous relationships only work if both partners feel comfortable, cared for, are having their needs met mentally and physically, and most importantly, if all rules are being followed. This man has shown a complete lack of concern for you, and you deserve so much better. OP asks, do you have any recommendations for what I should do? As far as the logistics of the breakup? I told him that I wanted to break up 2 years ago over the same issues, and he said he'd break up with his other girlfriend for me if I needed him to, and then convinced me that I didn't need him to. He's not easygoing, and he's not violent, but he has scared me in our arguments before. One time, he kind of wrestled me and forcibly took my phone out of anger and then hid it from me. Breaking up is going to be super hard because we've been together so long, but even just broaching the topic is gonna be hard because he's super sensitive and gets really defensive anytime I want to talk about his other relationships. So he's physically abusing you too. OP, this guy doesn't give an F about you. And now, on to the update. So I posted here several months ago about my now ex-boyfriend. I can't find the post, but basically I was assaulted while abroad, and he used this trauma to manipulate me into letting him sleep with a ton of girls and having long-term girlfriends. He didn't wear condoms and brought home STDs. First off, I owe Reddit a big thank you for saving my ass. Everyone commented saying, yeah, this is abusive and horrible, and it felt like a wake-up call. I've been moved out for a month now. The only thing I'm still struggling with is what amount of distance to give him. We were dating and living together for 7 years. The biggest reason he let me leave is because I promised we'd still be friends, but now I'm not so sure. I don't text him back until hours later, and I haven't been to the house that we bought together except when he's not there. I need to maintain some kind of relationship with him in order to get the money back for the house that we invested in, but I can't decide if he's a toxic person or just a toxic boyfriend. I told him I'm hurting from the things that he did during our relationship, and that's why I don't want to hang out much. He just said, I'm hurting too. You left me. I feel like I have so much trauma from this, and it sucks he doesn't realize he was in the wrong. I told one of our mutual friends a vanilla version of why we broke up. He liked someone else, and he got mad that I was changing the narrative. I don't know why he thinks we broke up, but he insists that it wasn't because of the polyamory. I don't know. I just feel more and more bitter towards him, and sometimes I just want him out of my life completely. In the comments, he has no say in whether you leave him or not. The very fact he made you promise this is reason enough to cut him off completely. You seem to be so deep into that toxic dynamics, you don't see clearly what is happening. Get out of it, and if you can't, seek help. Also, lawyer up like somebody already suggested. The reason why doesn't matter. You don't need to define a breakup with a reason when it's obviously unhealthy. I'm proud of you for breaking things off. I hope you find peace with what happened. OP says, thank you so much. I feel good about the decision to break up for sure, and I'm obviously going to seek therapy for the trauma. I'm just not sure if it's worth having a friendship with this person or not. A therapist would most likely recommend going no contact so you can cope without more manipulation. I agree. No contact with this man. Toxic people, toxicity in general, should have no room in one's life. Try to cut all ties, sell the home, etc., and move forward. Therapy is a must. Good luck, OP. Tell him that you want to sell the house or he pays you for half of it. Get a real estate attorney if you have to. OP says, he's going to pay for my investment in it. I'm going to get a copy of the paperwork from our house tomorrow and get it all official and stuff, but I feel like it might be easier to act kind of like friends until he pays me back rather than get a lawyer. We live in Vietnam, so these things are not so cut and dry. I'm moving to the UK in May, so he won't be able to manipulate me too much from there. Okay, so paying for your investment isn't the same thing. If the house has appreciated in value, and very few markets haven't, then you'd be losing money by taking just what you originally put in. OP says, I'm willing to cut my losses, honestly. We've only had the house for a few years anyway. Well, as long as you're making an informed decision, then do what you need to do to get out of that situation. Our next post is titled, My girlfriend, female 25, of 4 years, and I, male 24, both tested positive for chlamydia, and I don't know how to handle the situation. So I had to do a health checkup on my nether region recently, and part of it was to give a urine test for chlamydia. It came back positive. Of course, my girlfriend took a test as well, and it also came back positive. We are both asymptomatic. Here's the thing. This shouldn't be possible. We are both each other's first sexual partner, even first kiss. We've been together for 4 years. I have never cheated, and I'm 99.99% sure that she's never cheated either. For one, she is not socially active at all, and is extremely monogamous. But I also can't imagine when she would have been able to cheat logistically, since we spend almost every waking hour together, and have been for the last 4 years. None of us have ever used a second-hand sex toy. None of us has gotten a blood transfusion. Given the situation, it should be impossible for us to contract chlamydia. But somehow we did. Has anyone been in a similar situation? How did you handle it? Did you ever figure out how you contracted it? In the comments, Doc here. Given the circumstances presented, you can pretty much only get it through sexual contact. One of you has strayed or contracted it before the relationship. For her, she really needs to see a gynecologist and be worked up carefully. If she has indeed had chlamydia for years asymptomatic, she could have long-term issues from it going untreated, including infertility. This is pretty serious. Twist. OP cheated and is polling the group for ideas on how to explain it. I too thought this. Someone is lying here, either OP or the girlfriend. Logically, it points to one of two things if you're telling the truth about never having cheated. 1. You were not in fact her first, and she's been asymptomatic the entire 4 years. And 2. She's cheated on you. I'm inclined to go with option 1. If you're confident she hasn't cheated, are you confident that she didn't lie about being a virgin to make herself seem more appealing to you? Another virgin at the time? Someone has been deceptive somewhere down the line. If it wasn't you, then it was her. Yes, this seems most likely to me, though one small part of me can think of a really awful explanation, which I would hope was just a flight of fancy. Or maybe she gave a guy a blowjob before they met, and she didn't count it because she didn't technically lose her virginity. I'd prefer that explanation. And now, on to the update. Well, I now know how I got chlamydia. I got a lot more comments than I expected on my previous post, most of them saying that I should snap out of the delusion, but also some alternative suggestions of how it might have happened. People suggested that she might have lied about me being her first. At first, I didn't think this could be it, as we are both very feminist and progressive generally, so it didn't feel like something that she would lie about. We are not religious either. But who knows? We'd only known each other for about a year when we got together, and maybe she got freaked out. Some people also suggested she might not see oral as losing virginity, but we both do. The other possibility that seemed likely was that she had been sexually assaulted and either doesn't remember or didn't want to tell me. Anyway, after work I stopped by a youth clinic and did a new test just to make sure, as someone suggested. When I got home, I spent the evening trying to figure out how best to ask her about these possibilities. I'm either suggesting that she might have lied to me or possibly bringing up trauma, so I wanted to make sure that I did it in the best way possible, but I won't have to worry about that anymore. And now for the reveal. Luckily, she hasn't been sexually assaulted, and unfortunately she didn't lie to me about being a virgin, so the morning of my last post, I was eating breakfast and watching YouTube on our shared iPad, just like I usually do. I remembered that the iPad is logged into her Snapchat account. Just to make sure, I checked. If she's cheating, surely Snap would be where she's talking to this guy, right? I didn't see any unfamiliar names. I did, however, see that she had an unread message from my best friend's girlfriend. I don't know why, but I checked it, and it said, "I'm gonna get tested today." At first, I thought that they had just discussed it. They are friends after all, and she had decided to get tested as well, but I scrolled up and saw the conversation they had yesterday, and well, I got cheated on. My girlfriend woke up around 5 minutes later and immediately asked me what was wrong. She said I looked pale. I sincerely apologized. Going through her private messages is not okay at all, and told her what I had seen. She came clean immediately. My best friend's girlfriend had only ever been with men, and my girlfriend had only ever been with me. Apparently they were both questioning if they were bi, so while my best friend, male 24 and I, were at the gym, they were hanging out at my best friend's place, like they usually do. That day, the curiosity got the best of them, and they had sex. That was last year, and she assures me that it hasn't happened since, and won't happen again. I'm not really sure how to feel right now. I always imagined that if I got cheated on, I'd feel crushed, but I'm surprisingly neutral over it all. I don't know. My biggest worry right now is how I'm going to tell my best friend about it. They've been together for almost 2 years, and his New Year's resolution this year was to propose to her. He's going to be crushed, and I hate to think about it. We're going to the gym after work today, so I'll tell him then. Just need to figure out how. One question I got a lot of, and I want to answer, is why I got tested in the first place if I was asymptomatic. The reason I was doing a checkup is kind of embarrassing, but I had noticed an unfamiliar lump on one of my testicles and just wanted to make sure that it wasn't cancer or something. When done with the checkup, the nurse told me that everything seemed fine, and then asked if I wanted to do a urine test for chlamydia. I don't know if it's standard procedure, or if she just thought, might as well do it. In the comments, as a bisexual woman, cheating is cheating. Bisexual here, and have a life history of never cheating on my partners. Just because I'm not container-driven doesn't mean that I need to open every jar as they become available. Same. Gender doesn't mean that she still lied to you and cheated, so that doesn't make anything better. So, silly questions. Your best friend and his girlfriend are in a monogamous relationship for 2 years, and he plans to propose, so 90% he is not cheating. How did the girlfriend have chlamydia and have gone undiagnosed for so long? It's been 1 year since the deed and all 4 people have chlamydia without any symptoms? Trickle truth for the win. This, either best friend's girlfriend's been getting around or his girlfriend has. I'm questioning how being feminist and non-religious means you wouldn't lie. Maybe in the context he wouldn't mind if she wasn't a virgin, so there is no reason to lie about it. Also, the lump in his testicles is a symptom of chlamydia. I don't think it was a one-time thing and someone else is cheating, either his boyfriend or boyfriend's girlfriend. I'm not sure if you're feeling neutral because it was another woman, but be aware that it may hit you hard later, especially when you say it out loud with your friend and how he may react. It'll also be a mistake to allow yourself, and especially your girlfriend, to write this off as a one-time experiment. She was sexually intimate with someone, planned it through all of the choices and decisions, and has lied by omission ever since. This is now part of your history with her, your future, and relationship. You have to view this as a huge breach of trust. To not do so is simply setting yourself up for further hurt and showing her that there are no consequences to betrayal. Good luck with talking to your friend, and remember that you will also need support. Our next post is titled, "My boyfriend tries to initiate sex almost every day, and it's too much for me. Need advice." So we've been together for 6 years, we live together, and have lots in common. I love spending time with him, and he's my best friend. The one thing that doesn't match is our sex drives. He has a high sex drive, and even after 6 years together, it's still high, and he initiates sex almost every day. I don't enjoy it more than once or twice a week, so I usually end up turning him down. He doesn't make a fuss and has never complained, but I feel guilty nonetheless. I want to bring it up with him though that I feel stressed that he initiates nearly every day, and as a result, I feel under pressure to have sex. I tried discussing with a friend, but she said that I should be pleased that after so many years together, he is still so attracted to me. So she obviously missed the point. What would be the best way to bring it up with him without upsetting him? TLDR, my boyfriend initiates sex almost every day, and it's starting to stress me out. In the comments, it's normal for couples to have differences in sex drives. You really should talk to him about this and find a compromise. It would be good for him to know how often you prefer having sex and that every day is too much for you. It sounds like he just needs to be made aware so he doesn't make you feel uncomfortable by initiating it too often. If he loves you, he would understand, respect you, and not be upset. Also, if he was upset about you turning him down so often, he would probably be complaining about it already. Good luck. Yes, came here to say, 2 reasonable people who love each other can meet in the middle. I agree. The nice thing is, OP is happy to have sex once or twice a week, which is more than a lot of couples. She can work with that. It sounds like she is still attracted to her boyfriend, and they seem to really love each other. If she was saying that she can't do it more than once a month, then they really would most likely be sexually incompatible, which is a bigger challenge to solve. I was in your boyfriend's position before, and my partner at the time's feelings on it was similar to yours. The compromise we made was that they would be the one to initiate the majority of times, since they were the one that wanted it far less. When talking with him, help him understand that it's sex frequency that you struggle with, and not sex with him. I will say though, sexual incompatibility did cause friction during the relationship, and we both suffered for it throughout its course. I would argue against this. Some people have a very low barrier to entry, how they feel about a task versus others. If he naturally initiates frequently but doesn't take it personally when rejected, let the initiator keep initiating, but encourage OP to find ways to make him feel loved still, and maybe encourage some spontaneous initiation as well. Or find a way for someone to drive up the intensity during the day so he has a clear signal of when to initiate. If it's always a shot in the dark, then no crap he checks maybe 7 times a week. Like if OP only has sex 2 times a week, then boyfriend might only have sex 1 times a week if he doesn't initiate every day. That's a tough spot to be, so it may be good for OP to have some encouraging days and really reward the patience yet persistence of the boyfriend. I guess my point more so is, why change roles so that both people are working against their grain? Why not just communicate more around the situation than completely changing who does what, which causes its own friction? Then no one's needs are adequately met, and they feel misunderstood and out of their comfort zone. Edit. When I say if he naturally initiates frequently, let him continue, some dudes might get butthurt saying it's about equality and both parties are responsible for love and value. I'll say that in real life, people tend to deviate into natural roles and things. OP's relationship is 6 years old, and they've probably had time to sort many things out, and this is how the cards fell. It's not too late to change things, nor should the status quo be enforced, because that's how it's always been. But people want to be in love, not in a court of relational law. You can set guidelines and completely flip the paradigm, but in reality, when people are given space to be themselves naturally, things just work out. Grace and understanding is what keeps people from feeling completely sucked dry by conflict or from confrontation. When you're constantly fighting against who you feel you are, just to be with someone else, that's a pretty big price to pay just to go to sleep at night, hoping to be fulfilled the next day. Have some patience with each other. Just like to add a different perspective. I was in a 5-year thing where I initiated most of the time. At the start, we had no issues as we had similar drives, and she initiated a lot as well. After a while, it became only me initiating, which was fine for a while. It started to grate after that though. When you're the only one initiating, you're also the only one being rejected. As you said, some people are fine with that, some people aren't, and with some people, it can slowly build up. Just from my perspective, encouraging some initiation from OP isn't a bad idea. It helps reinforce to her partner that she still enjoys being intimate with him enough to actually go out and to make it happen. They don't have to fully change roles, but it always used to make my day when it happened in my case. Also, if OP is on birth control, she could also look at switching. That ended up being the root cause of the situation in my old relationship. And now on to the updates. My boyfriend was initiating sex every day, and the stress of it was making me feel guilty and anxious. I discussed this with him because he doesn't react negatively when I turn him down. 2 to 3 times a week is ideal for me. He didn't get upset or defensive when I said to him that I was feeling overwhelmed. However, he said he was sorry for making me feel the way I did, and that he never intended for me to feel any kind of pressure. I'm thankful that he could see my point of view. He's not trying much since I had the conversation with him and just waits for me to initiate, which is fine. Maybe he'll be more relaxed about it with time. I'm just glad that he understood. TLDR, I talked to my boyfriend about him initiating sex every day being too much, and he's been understanding and was not upset at all. In the comments, this is how it should be. Sex drives can be mismatched, but if you love someone, you would never make them feel guilty for theirs. If anyone feels that their partner's sex drive is incompatible to the point where there is no workaround, it is better to break up rather than wear them down and guilt them. I'm someone who could go multiple times a day or go for weeks without, and I'd be happy either way. I'm glad that you have a sympathetic partner. I hope feeling less pressure will lead to greater compatibility in the future. Just make sure that he still feels like he can initiate. A long time ago, I wasn't in the mood a few times, and my husband hasn't initiated since. I'm talking a decade of being the only one even remotely suggesting anything. The fear of rejection made him never ask again. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys today. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.